myself to everybody.
Cool.
Oh, Mo, you didn't have to start recording. That's okay.
Yes, I just got rained on, so my hair is like poof. That's okay. Could be worse. So good morning, good afternoon. Excuse me. It's afternoon now. How is everyone?
Good.
Doing good.
Good.
Awesome. I will get to every single one of you. I'm just going to see who else is coming on. I know that we're going to change to PowerPoint, and you'll see the PowerPoint more than you'll see me, and we'll be talking and discussing. This I want you to think of as more like a group activity, because this class, I do want you to contribute. I want you to talk. I want you to put in what you think, because that's the whole point. If we were at FTI, then you would get to spend more time together, and you would get to on breaks and after class and find out even more about each other. But I want you to learn from each other, not from just me. So when we talk about all the different things, I want to know what you found so far, if you've even started teaching yet. And I'd like to get your ideas and your input. Again, this is about all of you, not just me. I am going to get you to introduce each other. Usually you go introduce each other, but things have changed. So you'll tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, where you are, more than just numbers. Tell me a city and a state. Don't just tell me DC, blah, 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 because I want to know where you are. And I need for some addresses. They didn't get all the email addresses. There is 1, 2, 3, 4 that are missing.
I'll send them to you, Michelle. I have everybody. So nobody needs to do anything extra. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Send it to Alice too. So if we have email addresses, we're good. Then I can just start harassing them.
Yep.
Are we missing Michelle?
We're missing Michelle, William Miller, and Jason King.
Michelle called yesterday and let us know that she will not be able to attend.
Thank you so much. I will mark
I
her.
assume that's Michelle Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nicole,
Yep.
Jason
That's how
King
I
is
feel.
on.
Oh, sorry,
I see
Jason.
Jason King.
Sorry.
I see Jason. Well, the only reason I knew Michelle was missing, she's the only girl on the list, and I knew there was no girls there. So I didn't know the other ones. So we good now?
Yeah, we're just waiting on William Miller. He's on. Larry's gonna call Frankie and see if he can get on. But I would say let's just move forward.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
we were talking about, she did send a book. Did everybody get their book in their packet? This
That's the
green book?
online book, the trainer's handbook,
Yeah.
and then the manual.
Yes, you have this online book and you have the training manual.
Yeah.
Because you will have homework to read, not a lot, just, it's not many pages. And then we just talk about it the next day.
How many pages is that book?
Is this whole book? We don't read the whole book this class. We read it, part of it, but the whole book is like 350 pages or something.
That's my sign that I'm not printing it out.
No, do not print it out. You're welcome to print parts of it if you want to, but I would not waste your paper or your ink on that. Because you won't need, there'll be small chapters, and some of the chapters are not going to be gone over until Teach and Tech 2. So we're just doing partial. I wish I could see, I'm going to put where I can see all of you for right now. Because I would like that. Let me see. Oh, there's all of you. Wow, I look like I have some bright orange hair. That's okay. Scary. I swear I don't look like that in normal. So how is everybody good? Everybody been working?
Yep.
Yep.
Hey, Tom's got a friend. Hi, Tom's friend.
I'm Michelle.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome. Now I can see who you are. I couldn't see a second ago.
I have a face made for radio. Sorry.
You have a what?
Face made for radio.
Oh, well, bless your heart. You're so pretty.
Hey, Michelle, while you're on here, did you say there's 1 or 2 books total?
There is just one book that's an online book, and they mailed you just the information I'm gonna be going over on PowerPoint.
Okay, correct. Thanks.
So there's only one that would be a printed, and the other one's online.
All right.
And you will be doing a little bit of research, nothing hard. So hopefully, I see some of you have some helpers. Jason, somebody's behind you. All I can see is an arm. Hi. I still couldn't see who it was, but hi. I saw a little nose. As you can see, I know some of the people that hang out with you. I've hung out with them before. Bunch of troublemakers. Sorry, Tom. I saw him. Troublemaker. Now I still can't see anything but your mask. That's a lot of trouble. Jason, I'm sorry. I saw trouble coming behind you. So poor Tom and Jason. No, really, I do love them. I love everybody. They make fun of me. So let's start out. I want to know again, some of you are on mute, so you'll have to unmute yourself because you're going to have to tell me a little bit about yourself. What I'm going to do is go through, and after I get finished talking this time, Alice is going to come in and she's going to tell you a little bit about the LMS and tell you how to get on there. So let's go first with, and if you go by a different name than what I have listed, please tell me. I see Eduardo.
Bracamontes.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Excuse me. I keep
Good
saying
afternoon.
morning.
Yeah, I'm Ed Bracamontes. I'm from Michigan. I work for the District Council 1M over here in Michigan as a union organizer. And also I do the part-time for drywall finisher. I've been doing finishing for almost 35 years. I started back in 1985. I work on the non-union sector for almost 15 years in the Washington metropolitan area. And I moved over here to Michigan back in 2000. So I joined the union back on that time. And I've been working over here as a foreman for a good sized company over here in Michigan. And for the last 2 years, I joined the union. I work for the district council now. And like I said, I've been doing just a part-time training for drywall finishers over here on the Lansing area. We got 2 trainers over here in Michigan, one on the Detroit area and one on out of state. And I do the one on the Lansing area. I only have 1 class a week. So I've been working with kids for almost 3 years now, trying to get them going. We're trying to do the best we can over here with the experience I got, over the years. And pretty much, I mean, it's all I got. Like I say, I work for the district council. That's my regular job, but I really enjoy working for the training center too. I like to see the kids get over the hump and trying to get them to do better in life, and better for everybody, better for us too as a union too. So we're trying to get the guys going, as quickly as we can. Yeah.
And that's true. That's what we're here for.
Uh-huh.
We want to get good workers.
Yes.
And we would
Mhm.
like for them to be accurate and
Yep.
trained, and because they make everybody look good when they look
Yeah.
good.
Yep. Yeah, that's
We
true.
keep our
Yeah.
jobs.
Yep. Yeah, that's true too.
That's
Yeah.
important. Keeping our jobs.
Yeah, I mean, we're, make sure that the kids succeed, they make sure they get a good career, and we're trying to encourage that there's a good career over here, something that they don't have to pay, and they get paid to do this training too. So, we try to make sure they understand all that too. So that's our goal, trying
Yeah.
to get the guys, to do better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a win-win.
Yes.
Okay, next on my list, because I'm just going by how I see you, it says Harlan.
Yeah, hi, my name is Harlan, construction foreman for a glazing company in the Toronto, Ontario region. Started in '89. I took a bit of a break for 14 years in the mid '90s. Ended up getting my millwright certificate. came back in 2008. So I've got dual certificates. The extent of my training is probably just passing some of my knowledge on to apprentices. We, like everywhere else, we recognize the trades are shorthanded. So hopefully through this that I can help out in the training center.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Now, my next one is Jason Bauer. I can't hear you. Can you hear him? I can't hear him.
Nope.
No, we can't hear you. You look familiar, but I can't hear you.
It's probably mute. Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't have a little mute sign on it.
No.
No. Click your little the little arrow next to your microphone and choose the microphone same as the system.
I look like I'm looking the opposite direction to everybody. Work. He may not
Or
have,
there is no microphone.
oh, he may not have any sound on his computer. Jason, you might have to chat with us on the, you might have to send us a chat and tell us who you are.
You have to get a whiteboard behind you.
Yeah.
Or Jason, if you have a phone, you can switch to phone. So same icon, the microphone. Then it would say if you're using computer audio, you can switch to the phone. So you can try that.
Another option is to just dial in. There are
Yep.
phone numbers available.
Correct. If you need help, just send a chat and we can talk to you.
We'll come back to you, Jason. So if you dial in with your phone, we will now go over to, looks like Thaddeus. You. Yes, you. Oh no, is he not gonna make
He
noise?
doesn't have
again?
sound either.
Nothing.
He's gonna have to use his phone too. Because he's off mute too. Hello. I see your mouth moving. Can you hear me fine? Okay. Now we're gonna try, you'll probably have to call in on your phone too. Let's try Joe Butler.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you.
There we go. I know I had to click on my audio for my computer for it to come through on the Zoom first. So maybe they didn't do that, or I don't know. But I'm out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I started out in Atlantic City, New Jersey, did my apprenticeship, mostly commercial. When I moved here, it's almost all industrial painting, and pretty much learned a whole new trade with it. And I've been organizing for a little bit, and I want to become a trainer. I want to, teach the young guys the right way and get them interested, get them sold on, a career more than just a job where you make money, and try to get them to excel and get everything that's out there that we have to offer. Really, I mean, there's nowhere else where you can go like this and get your CAS and get your NACE and where someone pays for it. But I'm excited, this and organizing. I'd love to be like a utility knife where I can get in every little thing and just help the council, help, build this thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's awesome. And those other two could be talking trash about us and we wouldn't even know it. Y'all do. Be talking bad about us and all we see is your mouth moving. Man. But that is the whole goal. The more you learn, the better off you are and the more you have to offer. And so the more you learn, the more you have to offer your students. So I agree with that. So how about Brandon? Right when you put your drink up, then I call
Sorry,
you.
guys. You guys can hear me, right?
You're in on my little screen there, and I look like I'm looking the other direction because I have two screens.
I keep looking at my screen over here too, so I apologize, but
I'm looking at you, I promise.
that works. Yeah, so my name's Brandon Ziegler. I was out in the field for about 10 years, and then come August this past year, I accepted the position as wallpaper and painting instructor for DC 57 here in Pittsburgh. The main reason I took it on is because I get a fulfillment out of teaching the younger guys what I got to learn out in the field. So
And that's awesome. And as we go around and we talk more, you'll hear people say, well, and sometimes, not this time, but sometimes they'll even say, hey, I could see what was lacking in teaching, and I wanted to offer what I know we need to teach, or I've already learned and I want to give what I know. So we're already, you can tell the passion in teachers anyway. I say, well, you don't make a whole lot more money being a teacher.
The
Not
field
at
is
all.
definitely easier.
Yes, and this is mentally harder, I think, teaching, because you have to put so much more thought in everything, and it's not just about you, it's about everybody now. So it is hard. You know, when people laugh and say, teaching, all you do is talk. If only that's all it was. That would be awesome.
I hear it a lot.
And you can't make them listen. And so you've got to try to entertain them, and that's not easy either. And all the personalities, it's hard.
Oh yeah.
And I've noticed with a lot of my teachers, they'll say it's a lot harder teaching than it was being out on the job, for sure, mentally. And I'm more exhausted after teaching than I am when I'm out in the field, because then I just do my job, and I know how to do it. And it goes the way you plan, not always, but you have good ideas. Now, next, we're going to see Ryan. You're next on my little list here.
Hey, how we doing?
Good.
I'm Ryan Kent. I'm also in Pittsburgh, DC 57. I'm on staff as an organizer currently. Been here for about 2 years. Painted bridges for a decade or so before I got in. I have CAS and MACE, and I do all that stuff. But I'm kind of like Joe was saying, a utility guy around here. I do some aerial lift trainings, and I'm trying to get into doing some more industrial teaching, maybe getting to proctor to CAS exams and stuff like that to help further our members. So.
Painting bridges is scary.
You were saying this is a lot more mental. My body doesn't hurt as much, but it seems like I'm more tired than I ever was working in the field now.
I do think it's a whole lot more. You've got so many other personalities you have to worry about. Then when you're just out working, you do your own thing. But when you're teaching, you have all these other things you have to think about. You got to think about everything you say. Is it coming across the way you want it to come across? Are you making sense? It is harder. And
Yes.
some people don't really think it is. You just got a cush job now. You just sit in that office and talk. That's all. I've heard that a lot. Well, right now I am sitting in my house and talking. That's new for me. I'm talking to it. My dog is learning from me today. He's asleep. I guess I wasn't that interesting. So now we're going to move on to Donald. And I'm using the name that says on your screen. So if you go by a different name, that's fine too.
No, I do go by Donald. My name's Donald. I'm a business representative for District Council 46 out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. My concentration's on the Glazers. I'm a Glazer by trade. First joined the union in '96. Ended up leaving for a little bit in 2000 after a car accident. Went into the IT industry. And then found out that industry was more screwed up than what the construction industry was, and got my body healthy enough to come back. It's one of my claims to fame right now. I went from installing windows to installing windows back to installing windows. I've had my hands on, I became a business representative in 2012. I do represent the Glazers at a local 1819 in Toronto. But prior to that, I had started teaching what was first ended up being the team program out of the international and the international initiative right across North America. Since becoming a business representative, I've also done a little bit of training as a trainer for WMIS. I became a working at heights instructor. I've let my working at heights instructing sort of lapse a bit because the way that program's set up here in Toronto, there's a lot of changes and it happens rapidly. And if you're not up on top of it, you're not able to. And I could tell you now, knowing what I know now, being as a business representative out of Toronto, it's dealing with the personalities is the tough part. It's not the work that we do. out in the field. Like I actually know Harlan quite well, and he should be able to recognize that when you're just given a task to do and you just go do that task all day, that's one thing. But when you got to teach somebody how to do that task, and maybe they catch on, maybe they don't, and you got to come to their levels and try and understand where their level of learning is to try and make everybody successful. And that's where a lot of that difficulty comes in. So thanks for having me.
And that's what we're going to be talking about also. It's easy to teach the way you're comfortable with learning, but that doesn't mean that's how everybody else is going to learn. Like if we just teach what makes sense to us, that doesn't mean it's going to make sense to everybody. And we're going to talk a lot about that. And we're moving, and I hope you two can like get on the phone, maybe Jason and Thaddeus so far. Now we're going to go to Juan. Is that right?
Can you hear me now?
Oh yes, we can.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I can hear both of you now. Oh,
Sorry,
we'll start with Jason, and then we'll come back to you, and then Juan, you got off the hook for a few minutes, so we'll be back.
Can you hear me though? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good then.
Okay, Jason, you tell me about yourself.
So my name is Jason. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I just became an instructor back in July. I worked in the field for a little over 20 years. I got in right out of high school. Just turned 40 years old, so that's a big accomplishment there. We are having students in school, so that's been great. We started students back in August. We had to rearrange a lot of things. We can only have 9 students per class at one time, so we had to move some desks around and have one person per desk and stuff like that. So not a desk, a table.
Yeah.
But so I don't have any of my own classes yet, but I've been sitting in on a lot and get a lot of safety training and different things like that. So it's been really good. It's something that I can see myself doing for the next 20 plus years, and like everybody else said, it's nice to teach the kids, not the kids, the students.
I call kids.
I gotta stop saying that because they're not
adults.
all kids. They're adults, yeah. But I was fortunate enough. The company that I worked for 18 years, and we did taping, painting, we hung wall cover, and we did it all. So I was fortunate enough to learn all that, and I feel like I got a lot that I can help the students with. So I'm
And
looking
you can
forward
make
to it.
them understand too. They'll say, well, I may never use that again. You don't know that.
Yeah.
The more you know, the more employable you are.
Oh yeah.
If you just know one little area and that's all you know, you can't offer as much when you go out on the jobs. So if you know, even if you say, well, I just do drywall. Well, there's a lot more to it than just drywall. So the more you know about, the better off you are. There's so much. And when you can get, and sometimes things get a little slow in one area, you have more to offer. Right now, it seems we're busy most places, but that doesn't always hold out. I would love that, but things change. So how about you now that I can hear your voice now, Thaddeus? Is that right? Or do you go by that, or what do you go by?
I go by Thad. That's fine.
Well, whatever you go by. Usually people have a lot different names that they have up. That's why I keep saying that.
Thaddeus or Thad's fine.
Okay.
My name's Thaddeus. I'm a glazing coordinator at District Council 57 here in Pittsburgh. I started my glazing career in 2001 as an apprentice here in Pittsburgh. I did 20 years in the field, and in May of 2020, I came on staff here as the glazing coordinator. So I did basically a half a year of training apprentices so far. And it's been an adventure. I could say that. It's just a lot different than field work. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm here to start the second half of my career. So
I get it. Like I said, it's a different world.
Mhm.
You hear a lot of excuses. I don't know about y'all, but I can't have kids. So I think my students have been, they say when you have kids, that's your punishment for what you did to your parents. I think my students are my punishment for what I did in school. because I see them when they make some excuses. I'm like, oh God, there I am. I am sitting right in that seat. I am there in that body, and what's coming out of their mouth, I know is stuff that came out of my mouth. So they're my punishment for how I was with other teachers when I was young. I'm sure some of you have heard some things that you came up with before. I'm sure all of you were straight A students in school. Is that true?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. You did all your work and you were awesome. Look at y'all laughing. Okay, it's your turn now, sir.
All right. Well, you hear me, right?
I do.
Okay. My name is Juan. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm still in the field. I'm still a drywall finisher. I paint to drywall finishing, and I joined the union 4 years ago. Before that, I was a non-union worker. So I've been doing this. People kind of laugh at me because my family's been a drywall finishing trade. So they kind of took me there when I was like 10 years old. So I tell people I started when I was 10. Everybody laughs, and I'm like, no, really, I started when I was 10. So now that I'm 30, I'm like, I've been in the field for 20 years, but they laugh at it. But I still,
Yeah, it's true. They made
so
it work.
yeah, they made me work. Yeah, my friends till this day, they still make fun of me because when I was young, they were like, "Hey, you want to go out this weekend?" I'm like, "No, I can't. I gotta work."
Yeah, so you've got a lot of experience. You got a lot of information to offer.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it about me.
And Jason said he's 40 and he looks so young. Of course, I got a few years on you, but that's okay. And on this picture, I look 150, so it's great. I look at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I swear I don't look that bad in real life. Okay, Tom, how about you?
My name's Tom Carter, and I've been finishing since 93, right out of high school. Started doing residential. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I did do some non-union work. Got in the union in 97. It's been great. I haven't looked back. Been busy and looking forward to start teaching. And I have taught a couple classes back in November, but get the second half of my career going as well and help out these young adults to find a successful career and help them get off the streets.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good goal, and I think that's probably what most of you have too. Okay, now we've got Ray. He looked up, Ray.
It snuck up on me there. On my screen, I'm all the way at the top, so I thought that I was cleverly skipped and that I was going to be able to just go straight through this.
Every once in a while, you're jumping around because now I have Bob that just popped up at the top. So I'll get him as I come back around. You go right ahead.
That's appropriate. Bob and I work together, race back and forth, apprenticeship and training coordinator with District Council 4 out of Buffalo, New York. I'm out of Binghamton, New York, where I am right now enjoying the snow and the cold. I've been with District Council 4 for about 11 years. Started with the Glazers, Local 677, and volunteered to start teaching a few classes last year. Things got kind of sketchy here with making some changes to accommodate the interesting environment we're in this year. But I've a CPR, AD, first aid, among a few other classes that we teach. But coordinating with apprentices is a pretty full-time job in and of itself. There are days where it makes you miss the field, that's for sure, even if it's -10 and you're in a lift. But it's worth it for the kids.
They try our patience. They are here to try your patience.
They do. But I was better prepared. I've got 4 kids of my own, 18, 16, 5, and 2. So they keep me on my toes as well. So I'm a glutton for punishment.
You are a glutton. You are a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
2 to 15?
18, 16, 5, and 2.
Oh yeah, you got your hands full.
They cover the spectrum. But Yeah, that's me. I'll turn it over to Bob if he wants to talk a little bit.
Well, we can jump up to Bob. He's at the top now. Go ahead, Bob.
Hi, I'm Bob Bruckman. I am also a training and apprenticeship coordinator for DC4 out of Buffalo, New York. I started my career right out of high school. I actually was non-union for the first half of my career, doing carpentry work, drywall finishing, plastering, like doing drive-it or EFIS is the system. Got in the union about 11 years ago. I actually started with the Glazers in a facility where we actually manufactured the windows instead of being in the field, and then switched over to the tapers, which is where I finished my career in the field as a drywall finisher. I came in for the 2019-2020 school year for DC4 to teach the drywall finishing program. From there, became the coordinator, and that's where I'm at now.
Awesome. So now I'm going to jump over to Jason King. Yeah. Oh no, now you're on mute. He's on mute. Mute. See if you're working.
All right.
There we go. We didn't hear what you said first.
Okay. So 21-year glazer, still in the field. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. It's 72 degrees and the sun's shining right now.
I'll rub it in on what else.
No, I'm currently at a huge project, Fusion Towers in Atlanta, Georgia, and I never stop teaching in the field. So the guys have been pushing me to come in here and be an instructor for a long time. And, you know, when I can't strap on my knee pads anymore, at least I have a fallback. So I'm constantly teaching every day anyway. So I decided to give this a go since I've been in the field for 20 years anyway. So
Like what the heck?
yeah.
But I have noticed the majority of my teachers, once you come in here with me, when we're talking, like, do you have teaching experience? A lot of them have been coaches, or they've always been the go-to person people go to for information. So you already have that natural ability, and people have seen that already. But it's amazing how many like, oh yeah, I coach, or I volunteer for this. So a lot of my teachers are already teaching even before they get in, and they'll see that's why they want you to come in, because you're already so good at teaching other people, because not everybody's meant to be teachers. And I'm sure you've had some of those over the years. If you were in school, some people should not be teachers. And the ones I've had already have, when you're talking and you just hear what my group says, well, I wanted to help out. I wanted to teach. I wanted to bring more people in. Then I say, if nothing else, like, well, someone said, well, I don't even like to teach. I said, well, then you shouldn't be a teacher. Hello. Because you can. They're like, well, this is crazy. So, well, if all else fails, you can think of it selfishly, that if we don't have more people coming in, then you're going to be in trouble when you go out, because you're going to want to have that little bit of money that you depend on. And if there's no one coming into the trade, we're in trouble. So now I would like for Alice, she's just going to talk to you real quick about the LMS. And then Alice, are you with us? She may not.
I am. And
so
Donna's here as well. So
yeah.
both of us will we help each other. So we tag team a lot. So she finishes my sentences and I finish her sentences. So it works out pretty well. So we're going to take just a couple of minutes to introduce you to the LMS. Can I get a raised show of hands of people that have actually logged into the new LMS?
What is the new LMS?
It's the newer version of the LMS. So there's a whole new look and feel, new features.
Harlan wouldn't know what the LMS is. LMS is the learning management system that's been set up out of the FTI, out of the international. Basically, it's a plethora of all their courses that are available online for all our members as well as our contractors.
Okay.
Okay, so we have, Harlan, you're brand new, so that's good to know.
That was a good description, Don.
Yeah, I'm brand new too. That was
Yeah.
great.
And you're brand new too, Jason? Okay, all right. And
Yeah.
everyone else has had at
Maybe,
least some.
maybe Al, we can start with the website and give a quick intro for those who haven't seen the system or they
Yeah.
haven't
Yep.
logged in.
So, so what I did also, there were a couple of you that didn't have email addresses in the system. Nicole shared those with me, so I updated those for you in the IMS, which means they will reflect in your account in the LMS tomorrow. And one of the benefits of having a valid email address is that you can use my forgot my password link if you have an email address. If you don't have one, you can't use that. So that's just one reason that email address is so important. So let me share my screen.
Actually, I got a question on that.
Sure, go ahead.
I've been accessing the LMS for quite some time through our training center. Are we able to have our own login with the entire course load that exists under the LMS?
Yeah.
One of the things that's set up through ours that I've noticed out of Toronto is we've been limited to what we can actually view. Not all the courses are offered. We have to sort of push to find out, and the worst part of it has been is that there's no course catalog that I can go back and say, okay, I want to be able to navigate and take these courses, and then I've had to contact my DOT, and then they got to email somebody down in Hanover to get it, and then eventually it gets uploaded to me.
Yeah, so we have a programs of study, and we'll show that when we do the intro. And it lists all the courses within the LMS, but the permissions are based on the DOT request. So let's say you're paid commercial, then there's a listing of courses like health and safety courses and paint courses that will be assigned to you. So if you don't see them available on your permissions, you did the right thing.
You still got to contact the DOT. Okay.
Yeah, but as LMS admins, and most of the district councils have LMS admins, they don't need to email us. They can do it. They can assign enrollments or groupings to the coordinators or instructors.
Okay.
So we can check with your district councils who are the admins for your district council. They should be able to do that.
Okay, because again, the login that we've been typically using, it's obviously our ID number that we have that's generated through the LMS, and then a generic password.
Yeah, you can change your password. Yeah, you can change your password. That's up to you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. And now with that, if I have my email's tied to my account, and I do forget the password, you guys will send it. Well, I guess the system will send me if I use that password feature.
Yeah, I will show you that when we introduce.
Perfect.
The homepage. Yep.
All questions are done. Thank you.
Okay. I hope they're not all done, but you accept questions. Okay, let me just make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so we'll start with the home page. This is the home page of the LMS. And you get to that by typing in iftilms.org. And it'll take you to this page. Sorry, I was thinking that wasn't the right thing, but it obviously is. So on this page, this is a public page, and so there's a lot of features, help features on this page for you, a lot of information that you can use as instructors, or even just as students yourself if you want that. And Donna posted the link in the chat for you guys. So there are scrolling windows and then some other windows. So we'll just go through these. We're going to do it fairly quickly because this is a short class. So I just want to give you kind of an overview. I think Monisha will be on, I think tomorrow, and she'll provide you an overview of the college program for you guys. So we'll start with the training calendar. So as instructors, you've probably been, well, maybe you probably haven't been yet if you're brand new, to the Hanover Training Center where we train our instructors. So here you'd be able to, there's two different views of the calendar. One is a Google Sheet, which gives you the traditional look of the courses, the outline of dates, and then you'll also see past and upcoming courses as well. And then there's also a calendar format that you can click on. It'll show you what classes are being offered at what time, and you can click and add that to your calendar. But there is a DOT request form. So as Donna was saying, a lot of things have to pass through your DOT first. So a student can't just text us or email us and say they want to come to class or they want to enroll in a class. So it always has to come from you guys as the instructors, the DOT or the coordinator. So we rely heavily on these DOT request forms, the instructor registration forms as well. They come to the FTI International mailbox where they are processed by a member of our department in Hanover. So I'm going to let you guys go back so we can move a little more quickly. I'm not going to click on everything, but these are clickable items, the Google Sheets and the calendar format, so you can explore those when you have time after class or sometime in the next week. And then let's see what's next. Calendar, the same thing with the contact form. Again, we have a mailbox, the FTI International at ifti.edu. This form is used for any questions, any problems. If you're having a technical problem, if you have a question about a topic or want to provide input to a course. Sometimes we have instructors that, or even students that'll say, hey, we don't use that tool, that's the wrong tool, or the answer to question number 7 is incorrect. Please use this form to let us know, and that way we can update the curriculum and make sure it's working for everyone. So once you fill that out, we do have some suggested topics. If it's other, provide a detailed account of whatever your question is. If it's a problem, it's great if you can attach a screenshot so that we can take a better look, because we like to try to investigate everything prior to responding back to you, because we might be able to resolve the issue quickly. So when you hit submit, it goes to that FTI International mailbox, and any number one of us, Donna, Monisha, Nicole, and I all have a part in making sure that those emails are answered in a timely manner. Okay, what else do we have?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
When you go on your cell phone, it's like the format has changed. It's different than the layout on when you go on a laptop.
Yeah, so that looks like it's taking you directly to the login page.
Right. I've already logged in though.
So you would from there you would click on my dashboard. But that's not the home page. You want to go to the home page, iftilms.org.
Yeah, so and that's normal because your cell phone has a smaller screen, so the website automatically adjusts to the screen size. So if you have an iPad, so that would be a different look and feel. So to fully view the web page, we highly encourage you use a laptop or a desktop. But if you don't have any choice, then phone would do.
Okay, and then we have a plethora of videos that you guys can use. People have used these in their training centers, and you're welcome to download those or even run them straight from the LMS. So they're just taking a second to load, but you can see that there's a lot of those. There's one about the OJL feature on the app, the FTI degree program, some from the GP, and just various ones that are both old and new, older or new. They're still relevant, and so you can go there, and then you can see that they're all on our YouTube channel. So you can copy a link from there if you need to share it somewhere else. So those are there for you to use as you would like. And the calendar always shows up on that for easy access. Okay, so probably Donna mentioned about the course or the programs of study. So the course catalog window brings you to the programs of study. And then we have a third party, because we use a lot of third party. The VUBIS are now our primary third party course provider. And until March 31st, I believe, Donna, correct me if I'm wrong, the FTI will continue to pay for those third party courses during this pandemic. There is an IFTI course catalog. So if you're looking to come to Hanover for training, then that course listing will be there. And then again, you would always refer to your training calendar to see when those courses are offered in the year. This is just a snapshot. This training calendar right here is just a snapshot of what's coming up. So it takes you up to March 15th, and then you can view all events. You would work with Nicole to, if you had off-campus courses, so any courses that you're conducting via the FTI at your local, they can help you with that. And then there's always the K-Learning catalog. If you're looking for something in particular and it's not housed in the LMS, you can browse that catalog and see if there's a topic that that meets your requirements, and then you can email us and let us know that you're interested in it, and we can see if we can get that up on the LMS for you. I'm going to click on the programs of study. So the programs of study was built on the national standards of apprenticeship, all done by committee. I don't know if probably many people in each of your areas had something to do with it. It took a while, but we went through and created that program of study. And this is kind of a snapshot of what you'll see in the LMS. So any courses that are found in this program of study, you will also find housed in the LMS. So this gives you a snapshot of every course or every trade, and each will have, the competencies, the apprenticeship program description, the suggested program of study, and anything in particular to the course and its description. So let's see. So you'll notice that kind of like a college catalog. There's an alphanumeric abbreviation for every course.
Al, your screen is not showing the program to study. Yep,
Oh, it's not?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yep, because I opened up a. Let's see. Here we go.
Okay. Yep, there you go.
Remind me if I click out of it, because it might not share again. So there's an abbreviation, an alphanumeric code for every course, and some of you might already be familiar with that. But we've made designations for each trade. So core is the core curriculum, CAS is the industrial coating and lining, drywall, DRY. So you kind of get the idea of that. And then they each have a numeric grouping of numbers. So all glazing courses will be between 5,000 and 5,999. Core is a different story, lots of core. So we blew through the 1,000 course codes allotted for that, and we're starting over with the 100s, might even be getting close to 200s now. There are some special customized course codes. So now we have some Canadian courses because we're offering some courses for them in French, or courses that just pertain to the province of Canada and their requirements. So their course abbreviation would be CAN. You can also request your own course code. Sorry, something fly by me. You can also create your own district council course code. So This happens a lot when, let's say, you're teaching a course that we have on the LMS, and ours is a 24-hour class, but you only need 8 hours. That's your requirement. So you can request a course code that will meet the hours designated for that training. So it would start with a C, and then we would add your district council number. So for example, this one is C57, and then we'll assign a course code and course name to it. So that's always a possibility for you to request a custom course code for your district council. There are some courses that are specifically designed for the degree program, or now that we have had, during the pandemic, we've had the DOT seminars. So those are all designated with DOT, FRE for French, FTI is any classes that are offered at the International Training Center. So a lot of classes that you as instructor might end up coming to Hanover to take will be FTI classes. And those are also classes that are that count for our occupational education accreditation classes. So we are an accredited facility. So anytime you come for anything that relates to your instructor training, you're getting credit towards your associate and your master's designation through COE. And there's a couple of courses that are for kids that we've offered. I think those are through UBiz. So there's just a small bundle. I don't remember how many courses there are, but they're age appropriate. I know that there was some about coronavirus, helping to talk to a kid about coronavirus, and it's been going on for a year now. But if you're interested, you could pull that up for them. And then of course some Spanish courses. Does anybody have any questions yet?
Nope.
Try not to go too fast, but and then yep.
Yeah, how do you like once you get inside, like once you log in, how do you look up this catalog in the LMS?
So this catalog is going to be part of your dashboard, your enrollments. So I should be able to show you that. You'll see it on your dashboard, and I'll show you how to read your dashboard.
Okay, because I knew how to do it before, but when this all changed, I lost it. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's all there. It's just going to take a couple of times going in to see, just to get a feel for how it looks different.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So within the LMS, the course code, any of these items in the course name are searchable. So we know that, not everybody's going to remember that airless spray systems is PNT 7501. But if you're looking for that course, you can search any part of this course title. So you can search for all the paint. If you knew it was a 700 or 7,000 course, you can type in, a PNT 7 or just 7. And 7 would be too small, but PNT 7, and it'll come up with, any courses that are in that paint curriculum. Airless or spray, same idea. The search in the LMS is a little more flexible with the new one. Before you couldn't put too many combinations, but now you can put longer strands of text to search for. So I would highly recommend that you familiarize yourself with this program to study. You can get it directly here from the home page of the LMS, and then you should have it within your account, in your dashboard as an enrollment when you're logged in. So you always have access to it. It is 454 pages, so you probably don't want to print it. But you'd be able to, if you're a painter, if you're an industrial painter, for a cover, you can just read your section of it. That way you won't have to spend that much time reading all of it. And the final thing about the course codes is that there are some acronyms that we add to the end. So some courses have an A at the end, which means they're only an assessment. Sometimes the assessment is pulled outside of the course if they want, if it's a longer one or they want to offer it separately. And then the C is for a certification. not to be confused with a certificate of completion that you get when you finish an online course, but a certification would be a third-party certification. And those are the courses that are their completion statuses are transferred to the member mobile app. So if they take a certification at OSHA, SSPC, any of those, if it has a C, then the system knows to send it to the member mobile app. And it'll also be contained within your IMS account, LMS and IMS account. And there is a way for administrators to upload the actual certificate through the admin tools. And that'll be something that you'll learn when we have other trainings for you guys, because we don't have time to do all that today. Some courses, especially the Glazers, they wanted to have lesson plans, they wanted answer keys, all kinds of things for the assessments in their courses. So you might notice more so in the glazing curriculum that they have either an I or an S. So the I course would be for the instructor to house all of those materials, and the S would be only for the student. With the new LMS, it's going to be a little easier to manage that. We might not have to use the designations depending upon how we're setting up the class. And then finally, any course that has an asterisk at the end of it means that it's a third-party provider. You don't necessarily know that when you take the course because it's a single sign-on, but some of those are third-party courses that are housed within our LMS.
I got a question on that. For the third party, who covers the actual cost of that? Is it the district council, or is it covered through the FTI now if the course is available as a third party?
Yeah, so right now the FTI has been paying for it during the pandemic. So that will, as far as we know, that will continue through March 31st. The VuBiz courses are bundled. So if you log in, Don, you can help me if I get this wrong, but if you log in to any of the courses in the VuBiz, they're essentially, I think, 75 cents a piece. So it's one billing, and the bill will be sent to the district council.
And that's after March 31st, or that's effective now?
No, that's not after March 31st.
Okay.
Yeah, unless you hear otherwise.
Yeah, and there's a document when Alice clicked the course catalog page, there was another document for third party. So if you can go back, Al, and just show them that.
I was just noticing because I was just navigating through my dashboard there for a second, that our WMIS, the Canadian version of the Global Harmonized WMIS, it's a third party.
Yes.
And
yep.
So that we can access it. We can do it right now. As of right now, it's still the FTI International that's paying for that course.
Correct. And there's another board of trustees meeting, and they will be discussing the third party program again. So it might get extended, it might not, but before that date, there would be an email about the third party program. So if you can go back to the course catalog.
Yeah, so it's found in the course catalog, third party. This shows you all of the courses, how they're laid out. The Red Vector bundle was sunset as of December 31st, 2020. So those courses are no longer available.
So we offer single courses, and this started when people were asking about OSHA 10 and 30. Like some district councils, they don't have existing classes, and they were asking if there was an online course available. So I think 3 or 5 years ago, we sourced it and we found Click Safety, and it's a valid curriculum that they offer online. So we partner with them, and anytime they take OSHA 30 and the other courses here, they get the certifications or the cards.
Right, so they're accredited OSHA providers for that. There's very few that are accredited to provide OSHA 30, but Click Safety is one of them. And then it shows you all of the courses that are in this new biz bundle. So no matter which one you click on, you get them all. So it's kind of a one-stop shop. So once you open one, you've opened them all. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Let's see. We always provide news and information. The alerts will be scrolling up here. We always joke with Tom Funstein because he just wants the Ohio State, football stats to be scrolling. But
yep. So we added that feature in the LMS. So anytime that there's an issue with the LMS, new courses that's uploaded, it will always be part of the ticker.
Right.
And once we replace the tickers, most of the time they're being replaced every 2 or 3 weeks. They're archived through this page that Alice just clicked. So it would be either under news or help. And anything in the LMS is searchable. So there's a search field on the right side. Let's say your question about third party. So you can just type third party and all related alerts or pages will load that answer to your question.
So they might be back issues of questions, but you can always read through those.
Now, again, that's through the IFTI LMS site, not once you're into your personal learnings. Basically, once you've logged in, you're into the FTI.personallearning.com.
Correct. Yeah,
So this is all on IFTILMS.org.
Yep. So the website, the homepage is public and everything is searchable. Then once you log in, those are the proprietary enrollments that are offered to the members.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, so you can search here anywhere. I think I was trying to tell Michelle earlier. Are you watching, Michelle?
When
you get to Instructor Lounge, you can come to the homepage, to the LMS homepage, and type in Instructor Lounge, and then it'll show you the couple of things that are offered for that. So the video, actually that's not part, that might be on the Instructor Lounge, but you would click there and then it shows you register login, tutorial, all of that. Same thing with the help. So we're actually in the process of creating a new frequently asked questions document to be housed here. Based on some of the new features and some of the questions that we've gotten to help our users. So this is kind of your first stop. If you have a question that's, you may not determine whether it's generic or not, but if it's kind of like a high level question, you might want to check here in the help. You can search here and, you're looking for something about your password. And it's going to tell you, give you different, how do I reset it? I'm having issues, not able to change it. So you can use this search field for finding anything that is that we've documented here. So give it a try. And if that doesn't work, then you go back to the contact page, LMS contact form. And then you send us an email. So fill out the form completely, and then you send us an email, and we can help you with that. This is a link to our main FTI website, ifti.edu. Admin tools is a separate. The login should be the same as your LMS password and login. You have to have access to this. I'm not sure that everybody does. Usually your admin does. And that is where you can perform quick user searches. You can upload the actual document certificate for any certification class that they've attended. And is there something else? I'm looking at Donna's.
Yeah, so again, a request from the district councils. They wanted, let's say there's an OSHA card and it's assigned to a journey person, they want that uploaded in the system and shown on the app. So that's possible. So that's being, I think for almost three years now, we've been doing that in the systems, in LMS, IMSC, and on the app. So there are admins in your district council where they have permissions just to log in this admin tools, and they upload the actual certificates for OSHA 10, OSHA 30, and that certificate is linked to the account and can be sent through email or can be shown to an employer or who needs it. So that's possible.
And then I think, Michelle, you're going to go over Instructor Lounge later.
Yeah, we are.
Okay. So, and I'll just, in a nutshell, the Instructor Lounge, we've tried in the past to have a way for instructors to kind of come together, to collaborate, to share information. And it hasn't worked. So we have this Instructor Lounge now, and it is based on, they have different forums, and within the forums, you can have, you can designate different topics. So here's our forum, and we have coronavirus. So there's 4 topics, 11 people have posted about it. General instructor information. Michelle, I'm going over your stuff already. The general information is one that you guys are probably going to use in this class. We set up a folder for you, Introduction to Teaching Techniques. So if you guys have, once you get into some of the meat of your instructional design, you might be sharing some information with your fellow classmates. And that way, if you're looking for an icebreaker and you've all posted your icebreakers, then, you know, Donald, when 2 months down the road, when he's teaching a class and he needs an icebreaker, you might find fads and say, oh, I like that one, I'm going to use it. So we're trying to promote everybody trying to, you know, getting to know each other and collaborating, because everybody's kind of doing, you know, their own thing, but the same thing. So I think the more hands in the pot that you guys can collaborate together, that really helps kind of, you know, you become a better instructor because you're not in it alone. So Michelle will go over how you log in and how you register for this particular.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, as one of the 2 or 3 people that have never seen this, this is a new language for me. I didn't even know this existed. So let me just try to explain what I see here. So to me, this looks like the primary tool for us to use in a classroom setting to teach apprentices. So whether it's when they're in school for the 8 weeks, or if it's just a Tuesday night class, am I catching all this correctly?
Not 100%, Harlan. These are also courses that we take as students as well. So it's basically it's a full course load, not only for us, but it's also accessible to our apprentices. I believe through our training center at the FTI Ontario, they have their own course load. Now, some of the information is taken from this program or this platform, the LMS, but the FTI Ontario also has their own course load that if you're going to be pulling stuff, it's going to be coming off of their servers at the training center.
Okay, but is this 90% based for apprentices, or are these courses
everybody,
for journeymen? Okay,
everybody.
Because I see a lot of value in some of these courses here. So my question is, why has nobody ever heard of this, you know, such as myself or the guys I work with?
I've been trying to promote it the best I can. It is been showing up in our newsletters. It's been showing up in documentation sent out. We've been promoting it at meetings. This is if you remember, you probably heard me say it in meetings specifically, is that this is the platform of which, like, you can take project management courses through this. And if you were asking me a while ago about project management courses, I said you can contact the training center and find out about the LMS. This is the LMS. So
I think maybe at a union meeting, we should do a presentation more like this, rather than just verbally say, hey, here's the site, check it out, because nobody's going to do that. Okay, so I just wanted to try to get up to speed, because most of you know exactly what's going on here. And I've got a million questions going through my head. Why are we starting on this? What's going on? Who is this for? So I think I got enough information. That's great. Thanks, Donald.
like bottom line, Harlan, if the easiest way to look at this is the FTI International is basically a community college. And these courses are available to instructors, to members, apprentices, journeymen. It's available to the owners through the affiliate, the LMCI. But they all access this same type of stuff. Like basically, as an example, you working for Tower now, Kyle can come onto this. He'll get in touch with the LMCI. He'll get access to the LMS, and he can take a project management course.
Okay.
It's available to everybody that's within our union.
Okay.
Yes, and just to give you a background of how it started as what you just said. So it started as an archive. So we were trying to find a way to distribute all the training resources. 10 years ago, people would come in the campus and we would give them flash drives. And that was not the most efficient way to do it.
So give them paper books.
Yep, they would ask for books, carry those books at their training centers, but that's not the most efficient way. So that's why we partnered with Gilfus, who was one of the founders of Blackboard. So we started uploading all those resources, PowerPoints from district councils or PowerPoints approved by the DOL through that programs of study that we just saw. So all those were uploaded in the system. And after that, the district councils asked, can we take online courses? So from the PowerPoints, those PowerPoints were converted to online training, and they have evolved to e-learning where you could hear narration and there would be graphics or videos embedded within those online lessons. Then after that, they again asked, can we track classroom training or completions by our students or journey persons? So now it's possible. So it evolved. So it can do all those things within the system, and it's dependent on your permission. So from a new instructor, you can talk to your DOT if it's possible that you can offer online training to your journey persons or to your students, because it's possible. It's just a permission thing that Alice and I will just enable on your account. So it takes a few minutes.
And one last thing I'd like to add to that, Harlan. You know how I've been telling you for the last several years that we offer WMIS online?
Yeah.
This is the platform.
Okay.
Right, and actually, Antonella, it may have happened before Antonella, it may have happened with Brian, but they asked that anytime any member was signed up and became a part of District Council 46, that WMIS is assigned to their account. So it's automatically assigned to anyone who comes into DC 46. So, and just overall, using the LMS is kind of up to you as an instructor, how you want to use it. It can be a time saver for classroom training because you can assign things for them, online training for them to take in the evening or the week leading into an in-person session. It would save classroom time and get your people out into their the hands-on as quickly as possible. Provides them kind of a knowledge background. So you have kind of a clean slate. You know where everybody's coming from once they walk into their classroom. You know that they've taken this training, this online learning. So you kind of know a little bit where they are when they come into the classroom. They should have a little bit in their background already, and then you can build it from there. And then when we talk about instructor training at the FTI, where Donna and I work, and Nicole, still back there, we train the trainers, so we train the instructors. We don't bring apprentices to Hanover offices. We train leadership and we train instructors. And then it's your job to go back and train other instructors and train the apprentices. But we also provide those courses online at the apprentice level, as well as for all members for professional as well as leadership development. So it has grown a lot from our little paper books and PowerPoints to a pretty sophisticated system. And don't worry, Harlan, we'll walk you through all of it. But we will be having training. So we're going kind of fast, but you know, this isn't meant to be a training. This is more meant to be an overview for you guys, which is great because now you get to see and you have questions, which is good.
And you guys do offer a training course for the LMS too, do you not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's what I should have done yesterday.
Yeah, well, I mean,
It'll come in time, Harlan.
So this newer LMS that I keep talking about, it's a you know, it's an upgraded version of our LMS. So all of the information is there. There's some new features or some new things that you can do as an instructor. And Donna and I are, you know, we also had a learning curve for this. So we're working on, we'll be setting up a webinar to train everyone on a phased in feature each time we teach.
Yeah, so there's an online training available. I think it's less than 2 hours, one for new users and one for admin training. Then there's also an in-person class that we used to offer. It would be the LMS admin orientation training. So once the campus is open, we will send out emails once that's available.
Okay, appreciate all that. I don't want to hold up too much. I just needed to try and make sure I'm in the right zone here. So
That's no problem.
Thank you.
Michelle, can we have like maybe 10 or 15 minutes and then we'll finish up?
Oh yeah, that's fine. We have plenty of time. We're good.
Okay. So the next step would be after, you know, we've reviewed everything on the public page, the LMS homepage, is when you would actually log in. You log in using your member ID. I'm going to log in with a demo account, but you would use your training. Your member ID, and that is what is issued to you through your registration as a union member. And then I don't remember who asked, but this is the I forgot my password link. So if you get to this point and you're like, oh, I can't remember anything, you can click I forgot my password, and it'll send a link to you at your email for you to create a new password.
It works great. I used it last night.
Good. Just remember to log it somewhere so that you have it. So the next step will be to sign in, and it gives you the opportunity to go back if you want to go back to the home page. This page is, we might, I don't know if we'll add anything to it or not, if you don't want to go too crazy, keep it kind of like. So now when you log into the LMS, you see your enrollments, and you're going to see throughout that everything is kind of widget driven. So all of these are considered widgets, and all of these on your page are opened widgets. So you can choose what you see on your page by clicking on the widgets, and then they download whatever it is to your screen. So see the documents that come up. I do have some documents, so any documents related to my training. So the first thing you see, which you cannot modify, will always show up, will be your enrollment. So these are all the enrollments for this. I'm logged in as a demo account just because it's a little easier to control what I have. And then I would use the scroll bar to scroll down, so you can see that I have about 7 enrollments in my account. As instructors, you might have more because you'll have all your trade curriculum because you're instructors. So you can not only go through that training yourself, but you probably will use that to teach them as well.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Is there one browser that works better than another?
It should work for all browsers. Before it was Google Chrome, or Google Chrome was having issues with Flash, but we turned off all the Flash. So it should work with all the browsers.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, it's called My Dashboard. So that's your landing page once you log in. The first thing you see are the enrollments, and there are some tools for sorting. So you'll be able to sort by due date. Sometimes there's an expiration date, course code. You can filter if you only want things that are enrolled, or if you want to see all completed training, it'll filter it for you. I'm not going to do that right now because it only has 7 courses, but they're all right there. I have 700 on mine, so it will take a little while. But it gives you an opportunity to apply filters so that you can narrow down what you're seeing in your enrollments. And then also you can either view by tile, which is what we're viewing now, or you can have a list view. And again, I'm not going to click that now just because I don't want to take the time to do it. Depending upon the number of enrollments you have, it might take a little bit longer. Okay. So these widgets have all been opened already. And you can see it'll do a scrolling list of statistics so that you can see, actually, because this is a training account, it doesn't have too many, but there's 19 learning paths. So it's, and 19 courses enrolled, or 19 people enrolled in that. You can see a transcript for completion. And then you'll also learn, as you learn the LMS, that we not only have just courses anymore, but we have learning paths that you can set up for, let's say, for example, you have first year Glazers. You can set up a learning path for all of the courses, all the instructor-led training that they need to take in order to complete their first phase of their apprenticeship. And then there's also specific designations for instructor-led training, which you can designate as online training, classroom training. I think there's tasks on the job tasks. I can't remember what it's called. But anyway, so you would set those up, and we're working on. There's a feature now that you can also set up the courses to, if during the pandemic, to run through Zoom. So once we are more comfortable with that, we'll be sharing that with you guys. Any certificates will display here. Again, the calendar will be specific to your training. So if you had any courses coming up, this particular person, the training demo doesn't have any. But it shows you the date that we're on. And if I were registered through this member ID, then it would show that I had class today or for the next couple of days. You'll see there's also leaderboards that you can filter for the top 10 leaders of users of the LMS. You can still see all of them, but always will show you. If you're not in the top 10, it will show you where you fall. And then so with the groupings and with the instructor-led training, you become part of a community. So you can see that you're part of the FTI 1000 Introduction to Teaching Techniques community. And you can click on their either discussion or documents. You can see there's discussion here already. Donna sent a message to the group. And if you're looking at yours, you should also see this on your account page, on your dashboard. And I, as training demo 15, chimed in to welcome you all. And then the nice thing about the groups is that now if you have a document to share, through this group, so it becomes just your group, you can share the document. So we have folders set up for this teaching techniques class, and again, it's specific to your session. And I've put a document in there for you guys. I put in a contact list. So it has all your names and email addresses and which district council and trade you represent. And that is something that you guys can access and use. But if Michelle, as the teacher, wants to add documents in there, maybe she has something she wants to share with you and you guys want a copy of it, this is a great way to upload a document to the group. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, can you just show me how to, could you just run me through real quick how to find the course catalog? Remember how on the old LMS you could go in and see like every course from
Right.
core all the way through every.
So, so the program of study is one way to do that. And then the course catalog. So if you click on catalog up here on your main dashboard,
Okay.
You'll see a course catalog. So it's
That has every.
set up the same way up as the program of study. So in anything 4.0 is the coding inspector or a coding application. 6, floor covering. 7 is Blazor.
So the difference,
it'll
yes.
show you like the certification courses, like there's 253, there's 8 lessons in the 8 courses in the floor cover. Blazor has 10.
Okay, so I clicked on glazing and then I clicked on I don't know, we'll say health and safety for the glazing trade. Okay.
So that's the first catalog.
Right, 7.1. Okay, now, okay, it lists every code, okay? So how do I give it to one of my students, one of my apprentices? How do I give them cold weather practices cold weather practices?
Okay, all right, so that's how you find the catalog. So the catalog is a great way to search for the courses that you're looking for. So you'll make a list of all the courses you want to give to your apprentice.
Right.
And then as admins for the system, you would have, this is the new admin menu. You would have these widgets on the side.
Okay.
And so the first one is for announcements.
Okay.
If you can send an announcement, let's say you're having a course, a cold weather practice course in the building, and you can send an announcement to that particular course. So like, for example, this one is, sign and display. They have an announcement from January to the 29th. And you can select who you're going to send it to. So if you have a group, and it's this happens to be DC4 only, but if your group was, DC46, Blazor first year, you would click there and it would only go to that group. And then you create your announcement. So that's the one, that's called a system widget. Then you have the users and you have groups. Let's see, Donna, do they see groups?
It depends on your permission. So Alice is showing that tab on the left side, and that's only available if you're an LMS admin. So if you don't have that tab, you have to talk to your DOT in order for us to enable that tab.
No, I have it.
So for the enrollments, you were asking how do you, like from the dashboard, Alice showed you that they had the coronavirus course, they had basic math and some other courses. So coronavirus by default is assigned to every active member. So you don't need to assign that. Right. But let's say core courses. So you can assign it through a group, similar to what you have right now. You are part of FTI 1000 with that date 126. So from the back end, Monisha created a group so that she can manage the group, assign you enrollments, manage your registration, assign you the survey. So she did that from the back end. And that's the best way to do it. To create a group, let's say you have 20 students, create a group for your students, label it, and start assigning the enrollments. But if you only have one person, then you can just find that name and assign him, let's say.
Yeah, how'd you get to that group screen?
Okay.
Yeah, I was holding it open on the so is it from this menu?
Mm-hmm.
Groups. So the left side tabs.
Okay, I got you now. I'm good. I got it.
Yep.
And then groups.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
give you a sample so you have a template to work on. So which district council are you from?
District Council 57.
Okay, so District Council 57. So Alice will search for some of the groups created for 57. Maybe I'll add the IMSC format. Okay, so these are some of the groups that were created by your admin, either I forgot who your admin was, or some of the instructors that you have. So they
Right.
try to do the trades per level. So
Right.
they have like drywall level 1, and from, let's click that out, drywall level 1, or any group, so we can.
Yeah, Glazer level 1. Yeah, because I know.
You know what? I have to go to 4 because
Oh yeah,
it's only associated with.
yes.
This member ID is only
Yeah,
associated
we
with.
forgot about that. The demo is associated to the council form.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it's going to be the same concept, but just this user name has permission for DC4. So they have, we can see they have a Glazer first year. So they named their group. So the first thing you do is always name your group with the IMSC code, which is the full DC. It's 6 digits, and then you can give it a name.
Yeah, I understand how to do all that. I just couldn't, I didn't know how to get to that particular point where I could add a class to a group, or if I could look a guy up if I had a journeyman that needed some extra help on, I don't know, say caulking or something. And I looked him up and created an account with his member ID. I didn't know how to get to that screen, that new screen. But now I know.
Yeah.
So I'm good now.
So if you're doing it for a class, of a few people, then this is the best way to do it is through a group.
Right. Right.
If you're on the fly and you want to add a course to a single person, then you can click on their name and you can click on users and search for their name.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. And then as admins, if you are an admin, but just know that you can import. So if there's classroom training that's taken place that you want them to have credit for that didn't have an LMS component, that data can be uploaded into the system to get credit for that course. So it's a spreadsheet. We teach this in our admin training. And that way you can account for the people that are taking training within your district council, but maybe not an online component of that. The learning paths, I talked to you briefly about that already. This is also something that we'll go over more in depth during a training, but this does allow you to kind of have a grouping of courses, assign the people to those courses, and they might have prerequisites, so they might have to build on each other, but it gives you kind of a defined pathway for you to take your student through, and they can see what they have to do to complete, let's say, Glazer year 1. And that way, it kind of breaks it down for you, and it gives them a pathway, as well as an instructor, kind of gives you that focus and pathway of what they have to do next. So we'll be training on that as well soon. And then finally, you will have access to reports. And this is a great way. So anything that you've entered into the system, you can pull out of the system. So just remember, your report is only going to be as good as the data that you've entered. And you will only have access to your district council. So you're not going to come in and find everyone else's district council. You have only access to your own district council permission. So this is a great way. Let's say you want to find the user demographics, and you're looking for email addresses. You want to find, let's say, the name, the email, the member ID, you're looking for member IDs, let's say, district council. So we just pull from, so the columns, think of those as the columns on your Excel spreadsheet. So you select what you want to see across the top of your spreadsheet. And then let's see, we'll do, I don't know, what else? Anything else, Donna?
That's fine. We just
That's
added
good.
filter. Yep.
Yep, okay. And then you would click on filters, and then you're going to add a filter. So you're going to specify what information you want to get out of this. So we're going to filter it by district council. And we're doing DC4 because that's what I had access to. Then you can say, you know, I want to order it on my spreadsheet with the first name, full name first, top, starting at the top, and then I can save it. Create the report, and then I can make it private or I can make it public. So if I want to share it, if it's a report that I found that pretty helpful, then I can share it. And then I'm going to run the report. So I click run report, and then it brings it up in either, you can either have it like in a PDF type document, it's HTML document, you can't manipulate it, it just shows up the way it is. The Excel is what we normally do, and you can save it if you like the data that you see. Let's see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see. Can you see that?
Oh, no, it's still showing the LMS.
Yeah. Move my menu bar. Right, there we go. I'm going to show my report.
Yeah, well, Alice is doing that. So the report would come up with all the columns that you requested. So we just, we're asking the system to give us basic demographic reports. And there you go. So that would be the report coming from the system. So this is what you have for district council for. And do you see how many members, Al?
967.
With emails. So that's just a number for the emails. You can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
2,000, yeah, over 2,000.
Over 2,000.
Over 2,000. But that's a good way, well, that's one good way to find out how many people are missing emails in your system. That's important. I think that's important to note. So whenever you see a blank, make sure you try to get an email from those people. But so the information that you put in, you can get out in any number of different report configurations. The reports can be saved. They can be, you can have them what do you call it? You can subscribe to them so that if you have a report that you need to run on a monthly basis or even annually, or something pops up every 2 years, you can create a report, and when it's time, that report will show up as a reminder for you to run in your inbox. And if I wanted to save, if I liked it, I could save it, and then it becomes a document within my report structure. Okay, so we kind of blew through that. It took a lot longer than I said I was going to. Sorry, Michelle.
Oh, that's okay. I want them to learn and know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So our best advice is always to get on the system and start looking around, start trying to run reports, start searching for users, become familiar with, how what's within your admin fields where you can find a user and set an enrollment. And then we'll be letting you know when there's additional training coming out for some of the features of the Does anybody have any other questions? I mean, I know there's probably a ton of questions and we can be part of it. I think she's writing them down, which is great. But yeah, so just know that we're going to be coming out with some more training over the next couple of months. And if you have questions, just send your questions to the FTI International mailbox and one of us will get back to you. Okay, I think we need a break, Michelle.
Yeah, I was thinking they might need like to go to the bathroom real quick. I saw Jason and Jason snacking. Both of the Jasons were snacking. So if you want to take like 5 minutes to go to the bathroom, get a fresh drink if you need to, and then we'll start back. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
And then I'll start rambling. Be prepared. Never feel bad. I was telling Harlan, a lot of you, the more you can find out, the better off you are. And in the last minute, if you were asked to teach a class and you didn't know as much about it, you could go on the LMS and pull some of those PowerPoints and you could use them. Or you could use it as study material. And again, what she was saying, some of it may not pertain to you. And now when we're also, and I'm sure, well, I hope you've been told this, normally you do a presentation at the end of the class. Well, instead of us doing it on virtual, we're going to do this part on virtual. And then the last part of the class, when we can get back into the classroom, is going to be at the FTI. So we'll all be together and you'll do your presentation that way. And a lot of times I'll say, well, what do you want to do your presentation on? And the guys, of course, like, I don't know. I said, well, do it on something you're comfortable with and something that you have the information. You're supposed to use a PowerPoint. Well, instead of recreating the wheel, if someone's ever already created for you, we go pull the PowerPoint off of the LMS and you make it your own. So that way you have it set, and then I'll be there for you if you don't know how to use PowerPoint as much, and some of you may not, and that's okay. In my other life, I'm also a computer teacher. When you were talking about Windows, well, I am, that's what I do. I teach computer technology as a college instructor too. And that when you talk to Monisha, this class counts toward your credits if you decide you want to get the college degree. Since I'm a college instructor, that's when I'm there with you. I just leave my door open at the residence hall because I have a suite and people come in and out if they have questions. I'm there anyway after class. I'm not going anywhere. You'll find out it's out in the middle of nowhere. But some of you may get an Uber or something, but I'll be happy to help you with your computer skills, and we'll have some time in the classroom too. So don't stress about that. You will be doing a presentation when we get out in Baltimore, when we get back there. But I will help you with whatever I can. And you can email me ahead of time. You can text me, whatever you need. That's what I'm here for. And since that took longer, well, that's okay because you're learning something that you need. And when we're at FTI, sometimes I see somebody that could give you information. Well, I'll pull them into class and they'll teach you something because, again, you don't have access to all the people you do when we're there. So we'll have access to each other, share each other's emails, and we can get help from everybody you can. When you said you get help from Donald, well, that's awesome. Then you'll also have the help from all these guys too. And they look nice. I mean, they look like they're nice people, pretty much. So what we're going to do, and we have so much of the PowerPoints for you would have in class. So I'm going to go over the PowerPoints with you. And I don't know, is Alice still got us held? Let me check.
I'm still here. Sure. What do you need?
I just saw your face and nobody else's. You're not still got us held, do you?
What do you mean?
I mean, are you still got the screen held?
I shouldn't know.
All I see is you.
Oh,
Let's go back. What do y'all see when I'm talking? What do you see?
The screen share is not on right now. You should have access to the screen share.
See, it's weird. It's not letting me. It's being hard to get along with. I'll use this mouse. Yep, for some reason my mouse just decided it was mad and it didn't want to work anymore. That's fine. I'm going to share, now that we know a little bit about each other, I'm going to share the PowerPoint that is in your book. And I'm going to move your faces over to my other screen so I can see you. And it's okay that we're not going exactly the way the outline says, because I can do anything we want, but as long as we get the information in the amount of time, we're good. So let me share my screen.
Now, Diane, I was scheduled to go to Baltimore around the 23rd of February. Has that been pushed back?
As far as I know, that's what's still set. As far
Is
as I know,
that for this course entirely?
that's for this class.
Okay, I don't know how that's going to apply to us here, because we're actually back into a state of emergency right now. We've been extended for another 14 days.
That's what I'm not sure either, because all the rest of them will be fine. Yes, I know. I heard that today.
This is definitely going to be we'll definitely tell you as soon as possible if plans change, because you know how this thing is. It's 1 week you think it's getting better and then it's not. And I think, like we're still, there's still a whole population of people here that have not been vaccinated because it's not our time yet. So, hang tight on that date, keep it scheduled, but, don't be surprised if it gets pushed back.
No, like we haven't even, I don't even think we've been given a date. Have you been given a date, Harlan?
Sorry?
Have you been given a date to go to Baltimore?
No.
No, neither
The
have I.
borders are still closed, right? So.
Yeah.
And we're still close. I'm not even back in the office yet. So, and they told us it would be at minimum mid-February, but we'll wait and see. And I don't know about getting in and out of the country. That's a whole nother ball of wax for you guys.
And if it, it probably will change by then. Can you see the PowerPoint up? Is that what y'all see right now?
Yep.
Okay. See why my mouse is being hateful. Maybe it just needs some new batteries. That's no big deal. Okay. So you're in Train the Trainer, I hope by now. I hope. And there's the FTI's mission. You've got your book. You can read that. I'm not going to read to you. I know you're happy about that. And what we're going to talk about in a nutshell is we are going to be talking about what we can do for our students, how we get our students to learn, what their learning styles are. We're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about a little bit, it says computers, but on the LMS, now that you're set up for the LMS, you can go in and there's a PowerPoint class. And it's very basic and it just shows you PowerPoint, but you can go in there and do the PowerPoint class. I'm not going to make you do that this time, but if you want to go in and look at the LMS class, whatever you want to do, but we are going to post some stuff in the instructor lounge.
Michelle, just a question on that again, and I'm going to point it more for our friend Harlan here. Is he going to have access to these courses, or is it, because I assume at this point, I don't know what Harlan's seeing within his dashboard. Is he going to have access to all this stuff so that it's pertinent to this course?
Supposedly, if he's in my course, he's supposed to have access to the Word, the PowerPoint, our class, and the LMS introduction should be there. Now, since he just got on, we might have to find out for sure. And that's no problem because Alice and Donna can give him access to those. Can't you, Alice?
So if you are enrolled in a class, you will have access to any of the course materials, including the end of class survey for that course.
Okay.
As instructors, this morning before this class, I went in and I double checked your trades So as instructors, I gave you each access to your trade curriculum. So that's what you should see in your enrollment. So you might see an increase in enrollments if you had been in there recently. There were a couple people, I think Thad, I think he already had all the courses for glazing, so some people, it might not change, but there were some people that weren't in the grouping that had all the enrollments for you as a paint instructor, or you as a CAS instructor, or you as a glazer.
And they will have the computer classes in there because they're supposed to have the PowerPoint, the Word.
Anything that is within the FTI 1000 course for this class, you'll have access to.
Awesome, because that's supposed to be part of, normally that's what we talk about more, but since we're not there right now, I would like for you to be able to get in there and look at it yourself, and then you'll get credit for taking that little course. PowerPoint's really small. You just watch it and it gives you some good instruction. It tells you how to navigate if you don't have a lot of familiarity with it. So it helps. So that would be great. And it's just within the LMS. And once our class is complete, I don't know if it'll be this time or when we finally get to Baltimore, but you also go in and you do the survey at the end. So I don't know if we'll do a survey after this and then another survey when we're there. We'll find out for sure. This is all new and we're learning together. So we'll see how it works out. But those definitely tell me if those are not there.
And these are in the enrollment section?
You should have, and it's some kind of intro to computer. I don't know what they call it. I'll find out to make sure. But you should have Word and PowerPoint at least in there.
I don't see those, but I'm pretty good with Word and PowerPoint. I do see the, is that the one we need right now?
Oh, I can't see that.
The finishing trades?
It would be Introduction to the Teaching. That's it. Introduction to Teach. That's just our class.
So that's on there.
Yes.
Okay.
So you are there. So now that we've got that, I'm going to click. And this one's going to be a very brief day because we don't have a lot left in this day. You're lucky. This day's almost over for us. We've already done the meet and greet. And I would like, and of course, here's our schedule that we're not exactly adhering to either, because this is usually a full class and your book is online. Can everybody access their online book?
Yes.
This is the one to read for homework. Perfect. So you'll have assignments tonight to read. And again, they're not very long chapters, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. That'll be your homework.
Okay.
The first thing is normally when we're in class, and even now, I think it helps. When you're going into your classes that you're teaching, the very first thing you should do is tell them what you expect from them. Because if you don't tell them or give them some idea of what behavior you're expecting, what they're not supposed to do, they're going to say, well, you didn't say that. Like cell phones. That's one of our greatest tools and our biggest enemy when we're teaching, because it's hard to get them off the cell phone. So in my class, when we start at FTI, that's one of the things. Of course, sometimes you need your cell phone. It's an emergency. Make sure it's on vibrate so I don't have to hear your ringtone. If it is an emergency, you should go outside and talk about it outside the classroom. You should not answer the phone in my class. Of course, some of yours are not supposed to have cell phones at all. So that's not, if there's emergency, a situation where there might be like a sick child or something that's going on, you know, they can tell you ahead of time. We also tell them when our breaks are, what to expect, what we're going to cover. Do they have to be in class every day? Well, of course they do. And you shouldn't even have to tell that. But if you've taught apprentices yet, they think it's okay if they just don't come to class one day. Of course, some of them think if they don't come to work one day, it's fine. They don't have to call. Their job should be waiting there when they come back. If you've met students like that yet, if you haven't, you're lucky. I've had plenty. But that's just, they have no work ethic. And we've got to teach them classroom ethics that goes into work ethic, because if they have no work ethic at all, that's what we're teaching them in the classroom too. Like, you have to be here. You have to be on time. Some of you that are teaching at night after work, there are some situations where traffic, car wrecks, but if they come in, there's a wreck every single day and they're like 45 minutes late every day, you know that's not legit. But sometimes, I mean, I live in a resort town. We have, in the summertime, traffic's insane and they do wreck every day. But we know when we're going to class that we'd have to allow extra time, but you're going to have emergencies. You depend on what you think about that. What is, but again, you're teaching them a work ethic. If you let them, just come on in 15 minutes late every time, that's fine. Oh, you can leave early all the time, that's fine. You're teaching them ethic, a work ethic right there. Not a very good one, but a work ethic. So when you give them guidelines, and do all of you have in your apprenticeship or whatever you're teaching, you have something they'll have to sign for apprenticeships. This is your apprenticeship. This is what we expect of you. Do you have that?
It's been a long
Yeah.
time since I did my apprenticeship, and I don't deal with them that directly. So,
But if you do, in any class, you need to set forth guidelines that you expect from them. Because if you don't, then they're going to throw it up in your face and say you didn't tell them. Journeymen, they already feel like you're wasting their time. Why are we here? I could be working. I could be making money. So you've got to prove to them why they're here and tell them what you expect to them firsthand. Common sense is not that common. People are going to try to take advantage of you. So again, and I always say what I'm going to give to you, this is what you should get from me. All of your classes, and when Harlan gets into the LMS, all those PowerPoints, the first thing they have are objectives. This is what, by the end of this class, this is what you should get. This is what you should know. So it's your responsibility to give them that information. Not all of them are going to pick it up. You can't control that, or we'd have an easy job. You just tell them, this is what we're going to cover. This is what you should know at the end of the class. It's my responsibility to give them that information, but it's their responsibility to pick it up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so here we go, objectives. And these are going to be a little bit different because we probably won't cover all of day one. It'll go into day two, which is fine because this is usually a full week class. You'll be able to identify the characteristics of an adult learner. And I'm going to see if I can, I can't switch these over, and see how they're used and develop different learning techniques, because it's your job to teach them. Again, I said you can't teach them one way and expect them all to learn. We're going to identify different learning styles and the preferences that students use. And we're going to talk about your learning style. Determine training strategies, what's the best methods, what works for one group and probably won't work for the next group. And you've got to take that into account. What you expect your students are going to do is not what they always do, which is nice. You're going to demonstrate basic and computer internet skills. By internet skills, you're going to have to go out and do a little research. The next couple of days, I'm just going to give you a little easy assignment where you going to teach us something small, even if it's like go out on the web and find a good tool for your trade. So that's what we'll do. And so that's what it means by internet skills. Learn how to search. You just got the LMS today. That was a brief LMS. Hopefully that gave you a little idea how to get on. And this is not all day one. I see a face there. Oh, hello. I've taught most of your people that are walking by in all your places.
Yeah, everybody's asking how you are.
I've been here a long time. And mostly I'm nice. So Word and PowerPoint, that's something you'll do on your own on the LMS. So that's up to you. I do think it'll help. PowerPoint, it'll just take you a few minutes. Word's a little bit more involved. So see what kind of time you have. Because there's some of you working during the day before you come in at 1.
Yeah.
Y'all. Who? Yeah. Yeah. No. So, and we lost Bob. Bob left. There's Bob. Bob left us. He didn't want us to see him anymore. Sneaky. So now you get on and see how you feel about the LMS. We're going to talk about how to give an effective training, because whenever, especially for Donald and Harlan, you get to the FTI, you're going to have to do a 45 to 50-minute presentation. So I want to make sure you feel comfortable. And again, do it on something you already know. Something that's trade related. All of you know your trade, so just choose something. Don't choose something totally new that's going to be hard for you. Choose something you feel comfortable with, because I want to see how you teach. And I'll be critiquing, and so will the class. And it's better than, I have done these virtuals, but it's really hard to tell how someone, I can't see your body language. Like I talk with my hands all the time. Well, it just looks like I'm shaking all the time because I'm moving, because I am a big hand person when I'm talking. We're going to talk about the skills that will make you a better presenter. And some of it is a little bit of theatrics. You've got to keep them awake. You've got to keep them interested. And that's not easy. So we're going to, again, presentation skills, huge. When it says deliver mini presentations, that's just going out, finding information and teaching the class about it. Those are like 2 minutes. Now, it would help if you have a prerequisite for computer skills, but if you don't, there is a basic computer skills. All of those does help. They are offered on the LMS. So you can get on there now that you all know about it. And I would like, that's what Core 001 FTI LMS, that should be the orientation. These are ones that will help you. Basic computing, Core 1008. Hopefully they haven't changed any numbers. And the easiest one is PowerPoint, but that's the numbers for them. They're in your book.
Yep.
So when you've got that book, you can look them up and you can search, yes, where she told you to search first. And the LMS, like Thaddeus and me both, I'm like, they changed it around a little bit. Everything's not exactly where I'm used to, but I will get used to it. Now, what I would like for you to do, and we only have 40 minutes, so I'm probably going to wait till tomorrow, but I'll give you an idea. One of the things I would like for you to do tomorrow, I'll give you a lot of time, is I want you to go out on the internet and I want you to find something that's a helpful tool for your trade. It could be a website that's helpful. It could be a tool that you find out about on a website. But this is about research. I want you to actually go out and find something. And you need to tell me where you found it. I am going to give you a little time tomorrow, but I don't want to take the time during this class when we only have a few minutes left. I'll give you that tomorrow. But just to give you a heads up and a warning, that's going to be your assignment tomorrow during class. Okay? Shake your heads. Y'all understand? Oh, yeah, y'all. I feel like I'm on the Brady Bunch. Here's a story. I won't sing. I don't want to scare you. So next, you get off on, you don't have to worry about that. Now, when it says the modern learner, you know, as when you were a student, and y'all were all awesome students, we've already established that in school, that you only had, even though you didn't realize it. I mean, some of people have more things going on than just school, but your main focus was supposed to be to learn in school. Now, one, you know, you still had to work because your family, they had the business. We owned a grocery store, so I still had to work. That's just a fact. But the main focus now, when we get older and we have your only thing you've got going on right now is not just training, is it? No. You are sometimes, some of you are a father. Some of you are taking care of a parent already. Some that happens. Some of you have all this responsibilities. You have bills. You have stuff you have to worry about. We have more health issues when we get older. Arthritis. We're not going to go there. But there's so many other things that, you know, if you've worked in the trade a while, there are some parts of your body that just hurt. I mean, that's reality. So when you meet the modern learner, they've got so much going on. It's just not, how many of you, this is an example, how many of you just sitting here trying to listen, you can even say since I took over, you're trying to listen, but something popped in your head. Oh man, did I do that? Oh, did I pay that bill? Oh, I need to do this after class. How many of y'all done that? Most of you are going to admit it. There you go. But you're trying to listen and you really are focusing on this, but something pops in there and we're trying to listen. Now you have students that aren't really trying to listen anyway. And so imagine how much is popping in their head when they're barely trying to pay attention to us. So that's what a modern learner is. They have so much. They may be overwhelmed by something else. They're distracted. Some of us are impatient. I'm sure none of you are impatient at all. Men, impatient, never happens. So when you think about the modern learner and your students, they've got a lot more going on than just listening to us. So we've got to figure out how to pull that information in. And most of our students are non-traditional students. They thought, and you're going to hear, I got in the trade so I wouldn't have to go to school. I don't know if any of y'all heard that. I didn't get in this trade to go to school. I hate school. This is crazy. But again, everybody has to be trained. There is not any jobs. Someone's like, well, how about a janitor? I'm like, yeah, they've got chemicals that could be dangerous. They have to find out what they can and cannot clean with, when they can and cannot be in rooms. I said, yes, they have training too. Everybody has training. So even though it's a non-traditional, you still have to learn. And when we think of an adult learner, that's anybody that's learning, but that's not their only focus. We're adults, and I have another job. I have 3, but that's another story. But I teach, and so I'm teaching online right now. And that's another job. So you have to learn how to pull their focus just to what we're doing. Some of us are older. I don't know about any of you, but it's harder for me to remember things. He's like, no, not me. Jason said, no, I'm not older. So it's harder for me to remember some things. It's not really an age thing. I've always had a horrible memory. So I have to write down a lot of things, or I'll tell my students, hey, email me and remind me. And I said, if you don't remind me, I'm not going to remember. My little angelic students, send me an email. You said to email you. I'm like, okay. If I tell 20 people to email me that day and all they say is, you said email me. You learn you have to be very thorough and explain exactly what you mean to these, and I call them kids too. Even though they're older than me, some of them, you have to I say, hey, send me an email, tell me who you are, what class you're in, and what we were discussing. Because I would hate to say how many students sent me an email that just said, you said send you an email. In my mind, common sense would say, give me a little idea what we were talking about, because I won't remember. But no, again, what you think in your mind, you're explaining is not always what they're hearing. And that's us as adult learners. We've got to think about, says possibly entering a new field mid-career. Some of your students already had another life. Sometimes we get them when I was teaching at Goodwill. I would get them after drug rehab. I'd get them after they got out of prison. I'd get them after they made really bad choices and have decided like they don't want to sell drugs anymore, which I think is a good choice. But I mean, I've had those students that you're getting, and this is a new world for them. You're going to get young students that may not have came from the best background. So things you think they should know, they've never been taught. You're like, well, you should know that. Well, if you don't have any parental guidance whatsoever and you raise yourself, then there's a lot of things you're not going to know, and you're going to be too proud to really ask questions. So here's all your students. Isn't that nice to know? You're going to get all these students from all these, and these are our adult learners. And we are doing our best to help them. And a lot of times you're going to be their second chance. And sometimes you may see them a few times in apprentices. You may be their third chance, their fourth chance, and sometimes it takes a few chances before they realize you're giving them a chance. So this is small. I'm not going to read that to you, but your students are going to want something practical. Just like some of you, you're probably like, oh man, I already know this. Let's move on. And it's not intentional, but they want you to be teaching them something that is something they need. If you're going in, again, those journeymen are like, why am I here? I already know how to do this. They're there because there's something new coming out that they need to know. Or it's just by law, you've got to have some upgrade classes. So they want to know why they're there and what does it do for me. So it's got to be practical. Self-directed, sometimes you've got to let them be responsible for their own learning. And all of any of you that are teaching apprentices or teaching any new information, do you think you can teach those kids, I know they're adults, teach those people everything they need to know in that apprentice school and those classes? Do you think you have them when you have them one day a week, or if you have them after work? Are you going to be able to teach them everything they're going to need to know for this career? There's no way. I don't know everything I need to know for my career, and I'm old. So you need to make them understand this is an ongoing learning. They're going to have to be somewhat self-directed. OSHA, and I know you don't use OSHA, but you do have something like OSHA. All of that, two of you, Donald and Harlan, all of yours is built on, unfortunately, accidents and deaths. They did not write it till after it happened. So when something really bad happens, they have a new law, a new rule. And that's just the reality. We can't plan for every single thing that happens. So there are going to be new things. When you see bridge painters, and it makes my heart stop, when I see those bridge painters up there on that bridge back in the old days, no safety whatsoever. They just climb up there. They're fine. That was before we had all these laws and these rules. And you see that guy out there on the skyscraper on that little piece of wood, just sitting out there, happy as can be, eating his lunch. I know y'all have seen that picture. He's not strapped to anything. To me, that is trauma. Back then, that's all they knew. They didn't know. I don't even want to know how many people probably died during that, but we found there's safer ways. That's why they have to come back in the classroom. Asbestos, didn't know. Somebody might have, but you didn't know. There's that lead paint, you learn, and you have to learn how to handle that stuff. So that's why we're bringing those students in. Problem-centered approaches, those are problems. We have to figure out, those are a little bit bigger that I just mentioned than us, but you have to figure out how to do your own thing. Also, you have to make sure your students understand what we're teaching them in class when they get out there and the foreman's in control. The foreman may tell them something different. And unfortunately, as long as it's not illegal or it's not safe, they may have to listen to someone other than me. Because to keep, as long as it's not, now if it's illegal or if they need to know how to stand up for themselves. If it could kill them, I mean, a job's not going, if you're not alive, what good are you going to do? That job's not going to be anything to you. So we're teaching them how to be safe. because there's all these rules and we're responsible for them. And again, you can't make them listen, but I'm sure all of you feel some responsibility when you're teaching safety if they go out and get hurt. So as long as you know you taught them everything you could, again, you can't make them listen, but if you did everything on your part, that helps you. So now, relevant real time, again, why am I doing this? What's in it for me? And clear and concise. If you tell them you're going to teach them one thing, of course, they're sneaky too, your students. If they know, I saw one of you, didn't I see one of you with the Bills shirt on? Did I see one of you with the Bills shirt on? Yeah. So if they know, because they sneaky, that you really like the Bills, then they'll start talking about it to get you off the subject. Even though you're in a class, you've got to cover this material, but they're like, hey, did you see that game last night? They think they're being sneaky, but instead they're just going to be in class longer. But they like to get you off the subject. Now, some of your students that's going to make mad, but you want to make sure you cover your material. Y'all laughing because some of you, you know it's true. Of course, y'all might have been the student that did it to your teachers. That's why you're laughing. I see two of you shaking your head. Yes, I did. But you know, you learn them and they're going to learn you. And the reason they know you so well, some of you are on the job site with them and you're in the classroom with them. We got to talk about that too, because there's a little bit different personality you have to take on when you're in charge in the classroom. You got to, you're in charge, and some of them are going to have a hard time with that. So collaborative. If you have some of those journeymen in the class with you with some newer students, sometimes you can get them to help. Some you may not, but you can get them to help you teach. Hey, I know all this. Okay, well, will you help me? If you know they know what they're talking about. But you can change it around where they have a little more responsibility. So adult learners, we talked about that. Practical work, value of work. Hopefully you're teaching a good work ethic. Some of them don't know how it's applicable to their work. What are we learning that's going to help? Hopefully all of you are learning some tools you can use toward teaching. And some of it you're going to say, I already do that. Well, that's great. That means you're doing a good job. So you can pat yourself on the back because some of the stuff, you know, you've already been doing to you is common sense. That's what makes you a good teacher. Control over their learning. Sometimes I'll come in and say, hey, this is what we've got to do today. You've got a choice of this or this. Really, both of them are working toward me, but I make them feel like they're part of the class. They get to make a choice. And really, all of that's still something I need done, but I let them have a little more flexibility and feel like they're part of it. Because if you just stand up here, what's the one guy that's like Bueller? He does that eye drop commercial where he uses that same tone of voice. If any of y'all have seen that, he has no change in his voice. He'll talk just like this. Today, we're going to talk about teaching techniques. It's going to be a great class. No, it's not going to be a great class. I want to beat my head against the wall. You can put more emphasis in it. OSHA or yours up there. I keep saying OSHA just because it's a boring subject. So y'all know what I'm talking about though. It's a little dry material. There's a lot of numbers and there's a lot of things in there that are not the most exciting, but you can break it up. Work groups, make them have some responsibility. Make sure that if they have responsibility to go out and find the information, just like y'all are going to tomorrow, then that means it's more relevant to them. They are in charge of finding something. So you can make it easier to learn. Some of the stuff you cover is never going to be exciting. I mean, it's never going to be fun, but you can at least make it easier to learn. True? Any of y'all have any dry subjects you got to teach? Nobody go and admit that? I do. I teach a lot of dry subjects sometimes, but that's okay. I can still make it as fun as possible. And you set goals. again, if you don't set goals and you've set no, adults like to set goals. So if you tell them, just like you, this is what you're going to do this week, this is what we're going to cover. It's my responsibility to do that, but you have an idea of what you're in store for. Are you going to be bored out of your mind? Sometimes you're going to be. The poor students, they complain they're bored. They don't have to teach the same stuff over and over. And you're thinking in your head, yeah, I've been teaching this. Like for me, for a class, I've taught this 4 times already this week. It's great. Yeah, my job's great. My job's fun all the time. What y'all complain about? You only had to hear it one time. And you let them evaluate, because sometimes, I know this doesn't pertain to any of you, we do things that are wrong. But if we think it's right and no one points it out to us, how are we going to know? So we need the students to evaluate us. And sometimes you're going to get, when someone's not doing good in your class, I've had some bad things said about me. Like if they're failing, yeah, I know. They're failing. They are failing. I did not fail them. They are failing. But in their world, it's my fault. It's not the fact they hadn't done any work the whole time they've been sitting in my class, but it's my fault. So you're going to have some evaluations that are not very realistic, but you can't take this stuff personally. And that's hard for some people. Not me. I still go to bed and go to sleep, because I've been called a lot of names over the years, and I've had some really nice things said to me. So they value problem-centered approach to teaching. We're solving a problem. This is what it is. This is how we fix it. And they get involved. Again, you're going to have some that won't listen. Engaged in solving problems. You're going to have some students that don't like to talk. Some that you can't get to shut up. You're going to have a mixture. So you've got to figure out a way that they can work together, or you can get some good information out of them. Because if they have problems, group activities, problem solve them. Unfortunately, you have so much material that you can use for problem solving because of accidents that's happened or a history that you can talk about. So there's plenty of material. You don't even have to make things up, unfortunately, of stuff that can help them understand the importance of why they're doing this. Dialogue, debate. Your students, or at least mine do, they like to, I also teach about playing games, not just like playing cards or anything, but playing games, because your students like to compete, at least mine do. So sometimes one of my guys from here said, you know what, you taught me something and I didn't even know I was learning. I'm like, I guess that's a compliment. But you introduce things in a way they don't feel as tortured, or like someone's beating, he's smiling. I'm like, is somebody behind you? One smiling. I'm like, is somebody harassing one on the side? I see him. He's looking over there like, someone making faces at you and doing stuff to you on the side. I know, they're rotten. Tell them behave. Don't do that to you. Last class, I had a little kid that would come up and somebody's lap and just sit in their lap. In the last class, there was a kitten sitting in I didn't know, he'd been petting a cat the whole time. My dog barked. His cat jumped up, went over his shoulder. In my last teacher techniques class, I'm like, has that cat been sitting there the whole time? He said, yeah, it's a good kitty. He was just sitting there. My dog scared it to death. So when he was smiling, look at somebody like, you bugging me. There you go, Juan. Sorry, I called you out. And relevant, real time, stuff that makes sense, something that pertains to them, control over their learning. Adults want to feel like they have some control. They don't want to be treated like children. You got to sit here. You got to do this. You can't talk. That's not reality. Identify their needs. Of course, some of them don't realize they need this because they're new to this trade. They don't know what they need. If they think a painter just is something you come in and you just start painting, no. Drywall. Oh, we're just going to slap that stuff up, throw some mud tape, we good. No, we're not good. That looks like crap. Glazers. Glazers got a lot of math involved too. So if they think they're not going to do school anymore, don't be a glazer. But there's a lot of things in here. So they don't know what all's involved. When you got in this trade, did you know all this stuff that was involved in doing this job? I mean, oh my gosh, there is so much more than just you think, I'm a painter, I just paint. No, none of your jobs. Organizers, oh, bless you. You have a lot of people treat you nice. You have a lot of people say nice stuff to you. It's fun time. Business agents, oh yeah. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So all of you know there's a lot involved in this. Choice of how they learn, I told you, I make them feel like they have a choice, even though really both choices work for me. I just make them feel like they get to choose which one is best. For me, I'm not going to choose something I don't know how to do. I'm going to make sure the choices I give them, I can go either way. So still they have a choice, but it works for me. And evaluate their learning. I told you, they need to tell you if something's not right. I'm teaching this way. I don't know if it's not working if nobody tells me. Unless I don't have tests. Like your classes, you don't have tests, you have presentations. But in yours, if every single person in your class misses one part of the test, all of them, that is not really them. You would have had somebody that guessed right, I guess. But if they didn't know that material, that's on us. So we're not teaching it in a way they understand. That's why they need to be able to evaluate their learning. Now, is calling us horrible names and talking crap about us on the evaluations, that's not helpful. But you're going to get that. Hopefully you won't. I have. But again, you can't take this personally. Most of the time when your students are being jerks in class, it has absolutely nothing to do with us. It's got something to do with them. We're going to talk about it. So we've are well-prepared trainers. If you don't know your stuff, and sometimes you may be thrown where information you don't know that well. I say, as long as you get to read a page before your students read, then you're ahead of them. But you still, if I came in here and said, I'm just going to tell you, I never taught this class before, I don't know anything. We hope for the best. Dude, we'll do the best we can. I don't know any of this crap, and it's going to be an awful class. But you got to sit here, and I got to sit here, so we'll be fine. Now, what kind of crap is that? If you tell them straight up you don't know anything, they're not going to respect what you're saying because you already told them you're stupid and you don't know what you're talking about. So at least come across as being brave. Even when and some of you may not be able to admit this, but some people are really nervous getting in front of people. I mean, they're really nervous. But these not children, our students, don't show your fear. No, don't you show them your fear. You show them you're brave. Don't show them your weaknesses. They will play on them. So you need to come across as secure. Are you always going to be secure? No. But you need to be as prepared as you possibly can and show them you know your stuff. If you come in and act like you're miserable, oh man, did you hear those dues went up? Can you believe that crap? If you start saying stuff like that when you go in or talking about politics, you don't bring in politics, you don't bring in sex, you don't bring in religion in your classroom. You are asking for trouble. Asking. And if they say something about, well, they start talking about something about the union, say, hey, come to your meeting. That's a good place to address that. Classroom, nip it in the bud. You tell them ahead of time. You want to make sure this is classroom time. We're not going to talk about that. That makes sense, everybody? Got your little head bob? Just think it's less than 15 minutes and you can get off this Zoom call. You're good. So considerate of a trainee's time. See how considerate I am of your time? I just say, hey, you got less than 15 minutes on here. It's all good. And collaborative again. Especially when we get in the classroom and I've got y'all like in front of me. I love when you do group work because you come up with some really interesting ideas. And just like here, when you hear people give the input tomorrow when we have that, people think of stuff that you wouldn't think of, because we all think totally different. We come from different areas. We come from different upbringing. So what pops in our mind automatically is different than somebody else. So I like when you get to work together and you learn from each other. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It was like, I said, what'd you learn this week? Well, I learned that Alice taught me about the LMS. Well, that's great. I don't care as long as you learn something. Or, hey, Jason told me something I didn't know. Again, this is about learning. It doesn't matter who taught you something as long as you learn something. So collaboration's awesome. And you know, when you get out on the job site, and this, I'm sure this never happened, you're not going to like everybody you work with. Maybe you will. I hope you do. That's great. But you're going to have to learn to work with people that may not have the same opinions as you. Just like someone goes, I hate that teacher. I said, well, are they teaching you what you need to know? Yes. I said, well, then just suck it up. You're not always going to like your foreman. You're not always going to like the weather. Some of y'all that are in the freezing snow. But the thing is, you still have to do your job. Are you going to like everybody? No. Are you going to like the conditions every time? No. But, and one of y'all, because y'all just sweet little angels, I know you heard that a few minutes ago, I'm always like, suck it up, Buttercup. Keep going. Well, I was having a bad day and I was talking to somebody online, one of my past students, and I said, I was complaining. He goes, you know what I think? And I said, well, he goes, suck it up, Buttercup. I'm like, I hate when somebody throws something back in my face that I've taught you. Man. He goes, yeah, get over it. You're fine. I was raised by my father. So that's my father's input. Shake it off, put some duct tape on it. You fine. Tape that cut up. You'll be fine. Duct tape. Put some glue on there. Get that incision. Just glue it back together. You're fine. But that's one thing. You're not going to like everybody and you're not going to agree with everybody. In your classroom, you might have people that have different, and this has been something hard too, now that the things are so open, that might have different views than you, might have a different religious view, might have a different sexuality that you're not used to, might have, all this does come into play now in our classroom. But you know what? None of that stuff's your business. Even if, because I have family that's very varied, but that has nothing to do with teaching. If you don't agree with their lifestyle, it doesn't matter. If you don't agree with their religion, it doesn't matter. All that matters is you teach them to the best of your ability. It's not your job to judge what they do out of the classroom. Now, with that being said, they can't bring it in the classroom. Because there's students, and I don't know if you found this or not, my younger students like to share everything. They're so used to sharing everything online, they just think they should just share all of their personal business with me. Some things I don't need to know. It's not my business. And I'll say, it's not my business. So guess what? They're going to expect you to be a parent sometimes for some of these younger kids, a marriage counselor sometimes. I'm like, hey, I'm divorced. Don't ask me. And I mean, don't ask me questions. Obviously, I'm not authority. But have any of you had this come to you yet? They think because you're in the front of them, you know everything, which I wish I did know everything. But you've got to be careful. You want to have a relationship with your students, but you want to make sure you keep boundaries. Same thing when job site, you come from the job site into teaching, you still got to have boundaries. The people that will take advantage of you most in the classroom are relatives and friends. There's some great people because they're like, hey, dude, we were just talking out there on the site. You're my friend. You're my buddy. You gonna make me do that too? Yes. This is the classroom. I'm sure none of you have had any people that you've worked with that have tried to take advantage of you. Never.
No.
But family's the worst. Family's horrible. I think they're worse than friends. So again, collaborative. You're going to have to make sure they understand the difference between when you're out there and when you're in the classroom. Because open-mindedness, that's what I said. You think you're right, and you may be right, but sometimes these students actually have a good idea and bring in a fresh idea you didn't think about. Some of you that have only been in the union a few years, or if you did you've already been in the trade, but you haven't been in the union, you may bring some fresh, they may bring some fresh ideas in. You've got to be open-minded to realize your way may not be the only way. And it's okay to introduce different ideas into your classroom. If someone has an idea like, well, that's stupid, just shut your mouth and sit down. That's probably not going to help their learning. I may be wrong, but if I had an idea and I told my instructor, hey, I think this is good, and they just looked at me and said, you're an idiot, that would not help me. It would be hard for me to listen to them from then on. I have heard some crazy crap, and when they say there's no such thing as a stupid question, they lie. There is. And I'll say, hey, that's not exactly where I'm going with that right now. No, we can talk about that after class, or that at least you had, an idea. But I've heard a lot of stupid questions in my life, so I know that's not true. Well, I know this is horrible. You just have a few more minutes. We were going to, what I would like for you to do, you saw where she had the instructor lounge. Did you see that? Where she was telling you about the instructor lounge, Alice? Do y'all remember that?
Yep.
Well, when you go to the instructor lounge, you have to actually ask to be a member. Let me see. Has anybody been on the instructor lounge before? Anybody alive? Let me go and stop my sharing. Or I could just, when she went in, Alice, are you there? She may not, she may be away.
Here. Yep, I'm here.
Okay, now there's that link on the instructor lounge where they can actually, since we're running a little bit late, that can get on, because they'll have to ask to become a member tonight, won't they?
Yes.
Okay.
So let me here, I'll share my screen just a sec.
Perfect.
So you can find it here, up here. And there's also, if you go to, actually the best way to do it right here is to search. I already have it in my search queue because I've searched for it before. Search for Instructor Lounge. And then it's the second one, the second block. And there's a tutorial that kind of walks you through setting up and registering for the Instructor Lounge. It's okay. It's not like super professionally done. It's kind of a guy that's, narrated his steps along the way, the guy who developed the programmer. But you can also click on the register link. And then you enter all of your, you enter all your information. I'm not sure. I think maybe because I'm already in, or could be because I'm admin, but you might have to enter in your username. Yeah.
So Alice, mine says my account has to be confirmed by an administrator before I can log in.
Yes. So once you register, and then you hit add user, and then it goes to, I think it's, I don't know who it is. I think it's Kelly in our office, or Gavin McDonald, and I'll alert them that you guys will be registering to look out for you, and then they just have to confirm, and they send you back your password.
Okay.
So that way you can actually get in and post and stuff, because you can't post until you get added, and then I can show you how to post and get in there.
Right.
Tonight, I know this.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Mine might look different, because I think it is your username, which would be your member ID. So you would enter that in. But I will alert them and I'll give them your names to let them know that you're submitting for an instructor lounge account.
So that's something you'll have to do before we can post in there. Because sometimes I like for you to go in and just post something that we talked about and just like you're reading tonight. This is your homework. Chapter 2 and 4. I know it's exciting stuff. And that's all you have to do tonight is chapter 2 and 4. Understanding adult learners and understanding today's learners. And we'll talk about that. Not very long chapters. Just read over the chapters and we'll talk about it in class tomorrow. That work for everybody?
Chapter
Now,
2,
tomorrow,
and that's the online one?
yeah, it's the online book.
Okay.
And if you have any problems with it, just tell me tomorrow.
Chapter 1.
And then what was that thing we had to research? You had to find a tool for your trade, correct?
That's tomorrow. I just
Okay.
wanted to give you a heads up. I was going to do that during class tomorrow. So that way, if you did want to just think about it a little bit, that'd be
Power
fine.
tool or hand tool?
It could be as long as you find it, research it on the internet and can find where it talks about it. It can be a hand tool, it can be a internet tool, it can be a website, just a tool that you find online.
Okay.
So that way, either way, as long as you find it on there, it can be any kind of tool that's helpful.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Does that understand for everybody? I just wanted to give a heads up on what I would expect from you tomorrow. We'll do that. We'll talk about it because we're going to have 3 whole hours of hearing me run my mouth tomorrow. It's very exciting. No, maybe Manisha will save you for a few minutes and she's going to tell you something tomorrow. But other than that, it'll be me. So I know it's already almost 4. So your day has not been too rough on you, hopefully. And we will be on here again tomorrow. Make sure you read those 2 chapters. That's your only homework I'm giving you tonight. And just go on there and make sure they approve you so we can post some stuff in the lounge. Is everybody okay?
I just have a question on this lounge. I don't know if I'm in or not. This is the page that come up. I don't know if you can see that.
If you click, Harlan, in the middle of that, it says the instructor lounge. Click on that. A page will come up and it'll ask you to register. It'll say
yeah.
register or log in.
Okay.
You're doing it through the login. You're doing it after you've already logged in with your username and password.
Yeah.
Where they were showing it from was from the IFTI LMS.
Okay.
The public site.
Okay. I'll see if I'll figure that out.
That's why I love y'all can talk about stuff because everything looks different to me because I've already been logged into it. So does everybody understand everything? Any problems? Any questions?
So chapter
Anybody?
chapter 2 and 4, you say?
Yep, chapter 2. And I know we jump around in the book, but chapter 2 and 4 is the one to read tonight.
Okay.
We don't use the whole entire book, but there's some really good information in there that one of my students read the wrong chapter last class, and he had some really good information. So he told us about it because he read it accidentally, the wrong chapter. So I found out about it. It is a very good chapter. I have to look it up and see. I think it's the one about creativity. It was a good chapter too. Well, y'all have a wonderful afternoon. It was so nice meeting you. And I'm Michelle. I've got 4 names, Diane Michelle Sawyer Cooper, but I go by Michelle. So if you need me, I'll also give you my, do they have my telephone number and stuff? Well, you'll see me tomorrow. I doubt you'll need me before then. But if you do, let me give you my email address in case you need it. It's SHELL, like Shell, N like Nancy, WV like West Virginia at yahoo.com.
Blow that one down a bit. So it's Shell.
It's Shell like a seashell, Shell, SHELL, NWV at yahoo.com. You can also text me at 843-267-9369. That's my cell.
Did you give out your cell when you were married to your students? Was this
I don't give them to my high school or college. I learned my lesson there. Only people I give mine is to my students here.
There you go.
Because they call you when they're drunk, and that's the last thing I want to hear. Miss Cooper! I'm like, no, no, I can't talk to you people. But yeah, I've learned I don't give my cell phone number out except for my students and Baltimore, my international. They're the safe ones. Well, some of y'all aren't that safe either, but at least you send me funny stuff.
Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Alice.
I will see you tomorrow.
Great.
Okay.
Have a wonderful afternoon. Hopefully I didn't torture you too bad.
Not at all.
No.
Bye.
Guys, tomorrow.
Bye.